It is a little bit tricky trying to buy property on your own, so maybe you might team up with somebody that you trust, and this is what we call property share. What is property share? I keep getting asked this question. I guess the biggest issue with purchasing a property together with somebody else is that when you go to buy another property with another person, well, that original total debt that you took out with your friend is technically in your name as well, and you have to carry that debt moving on for your second purchase. So there is a proper way of setting it up from the get-go to get it right. Property share essentially means that, let's just say you go and buy a property with a sibling or a friend, and you buy a property together, okay? Normally what a lot of people do is they end up just buying the property as joint applicants, and they just split the loan up, and one person is responsible for this loan, the other one's responsible for the second loan. The issue though is that when one of these applicants ends up going and trying to buy a property, let's just say 5 years down the track with a partner, well, that total debt, so both loans, technically are the liability of that one applicant that goes to purchase with his partner. So it does cause quite a bit of issues and serviceability issues. So the best way of doing it is property share, which essentially means that you've got two separate loans, but the banks or every other bank looks at it as completely separate mortgages because you've done it as property share, where essentially for this application, you have one applicant with this second person as a guarantor, and then vice versa. The second applicant for his own mortgage with this person as a guarantor. So when that person does, or one of these applicants goes and purchases with another person, only that portion will be in their name, so they won't have any issues with borrowing further funds later on. The biggest catch on this though is you're looked at completely separately when you take out this property share mortgage. So if one person is earning, let's just say 50,000, and the other person is earning 150,000, the $150,000 applicant will have no issues with servicing their half of the debt, let's just say $500,000, whereas the person earning 50,000 is going to struggle to service a $500,000 debt because again, they're looked at completely separate and serviceability is completely separate. So look, most applicants, when they buy with their friends, they normally do purchase it together because there normally is one person carrying the other, and we simply just split the loans up. But if you can, maybe ask the question about potentially setting it up as property share, where it's looked at completely separate, so only that particular mortgage is in your name moving forward when you go to buy a second property, potentially with somebody else. The banks are making it a little bit easier. For example, one lender does allow you to sign a statutory declaration to say that you are solely responsible for one of those two debts, even if you didn't get it properly set up from the beginning as property share. But not all banks have that statutory declaration policy. So you've just got to be a bit strategic with which lender you decide to go through when it does come time to purchasing a property, that second property with another person. So guys, if this is something that interests you, click the link and you can see a live example of us doing a property share application. Thank you guys and hope to see you soon.